Good morning, guys, or good afternoon, depending on when you see this. It is a chilly out here. So we are going to process a loofah. I did a practice run yesterday because I had never done it before, and so I needed to figure out what the best method for me would be. And I had done quite a lot of little research on it, just first of all to find out, can you harvest and process loofah before it has dried on the vine? And yes, you can, which is great news for those of us who have shorter growing seasons than, say, the arid, dry deserts area or the southern area. We have a decent growing season, though, don't get me wrong. It isn't 7 months long, which is really how long it takes to get from point A to processing if it dries on the vine. So I found a lot of things to read, and then right before I got started yesterday, I thought, let me just see if there's a video. And of course, YouTube University, there were a ton of videos, and I watched a few of those, and I kind of combined a few of what I had seen, few of the methods, and it seemed to work pretty good. Now, I did at one point yesterday think there's no way I'm gonna be able to get this done without Kyle's help and train. When it gets to that point, I will tell you why I thought I would need Kyle's help and show you what I ended up doing, which really could be quite therapeutic. So you're going to need a loofah. This is the largest one I had, and so I saved this one to do with you guys. And it is green, as you can see. It is hard, I mean almost as hard as a rock. I cannot squeeze this. So what I ended up doing was getting the trusty hammer out. Now let me show you how we're going to manage to get this sucker peeled. So basically, you just want to whack the bah humbug out of it, and you're not gonna hurt it. I was very intimidated and scared to do this, but you just want to whack the crap out of it. You just want to get that good and broken so that you can get to the inside. See how wet that is? That's why, really, if you live in an environment that you can let that dry on the vine, life would be simpler. Oops! I totally missed. I hope I didn't wreck my patio. Alright, I think I've got that pretty good, and I'm going to put it in the sink full of water and let it soak for a tad bit. It's warm water, and it seems to help loosen the rind. I'll take you inside and show you what I mean. Okay, so as you can see, I have a fairly large sink, and when the rind is still on it, it's going to float. So yesterday I had filled it up with quite a lot more water, and it just still floated until after I got all of that green off. So I'm not going to put more water in it until I'm ready for it to soak, and that's if it needs it. So after it's had some time to sit here and kind of really warm up, I'll bring you back and show you how you're going to get all that stuff off and how you end up on the inside. All right, so it's been sitting here probably about 15 minutes, and this is where it gets stupid messy, y'all. You'll see what I mean, but I'm just gonna find one of these holes here, and that's what I did yesterday, and I just stuck my thumb in there, and it's like, wow, look at that, it comes off. Yeah, and then I just started peeling it off, and I can tell you that this is not so easy being green. But if you go watch Brian's video at Next Level Gardening, and I'll put a link up for you and down in the description, you'll see the difference in what this looks like when it's dried on the vine and what it looks like doing this green. But as you can see, the structure is in there. That's one thing that you have to forgive Brian for on his video if you go over and look at it. He has no idea, or did not until yesterday, have any idea that when they were green, they were actually still usable. And to be fair, he, has lived in California, his entire life, and that's what he knows, So he has a long growing season and, can do the whole drying on the vine thing. Lucky him. But where I live, while we have a pretty decent growing season, it's just not long enough for that. And even if it was, I really don't know that by the way, just to interrupt myself, see these strings? I found yesterday that if I go ahead and try to pull them, they kind of acted like zippers and made it easier to peel off. So anyway, but because I live in a humid environment, I'm not real sure that drying them on the vine would work out very well. I think that I would end up probably having a lot of mold problems. So I don't think I'd really want to do that. So I'll probably always end up doing it this way. One of the other things that, I only got 4, as some of you know, I only got 4 of these on the vine. And the reason for that is I didn't get them into the ground until later. Well, I should rephrase that. I did not get it started until a little later than I should have. So this next year I will be starting these, probably be the very first plants I start. And I will be starting them a full 8 weeks or more before my last frost. So yeah, and as you can see, it isn't always easy. Those strings can be really tough, and but it does help. See, it does help if you just pull them. It just kind of starts to come apart easier. Now, that's how this looks. Y'all are gonna be so excited when you see how I end up getting the insides out. That's where I started having issues yesterday, and I took a picture and put it on the community tab and had said that I'm probably going to end up having to have Kyle's help because when we get done with this, we need to squeeze it and break a lot of those inner membranes, and you'll see what I mean by how hard that is. At least it is for me. I have arthritis, and so that makes it very difficult for me to do a lot of squeezing, just simply because it causes me a whole lot of pain. But it's good for my joints. That I can say. If you have arthritis, squeezing these would be good exercise for your joints. Now, one of the videos I saw yesterday, and I apologize, I really should have made note. And if I can locate that same video, which I should be able to do, I'll leave a link to it for you so that you guys can see where some of this inspiration came from as far as how to process them. The lady said she likes to cut the ends off of hers. I can see why she did that, and I may do that on this one, at least this end here, just because. But then again, I'm not sure that I will, just because it'll give me something to hold on to when I show you what I'm talking about that I'll do later to get the rest of the insides out. All right, time to find another new hole, because this is not easy. Ugh. There. So, as you can see, it's not terribly awful, but it isn't terribly easy either. You just have to have some patience and work with it, and eventually it will all come off, and we'll be ready to let it just sit here and soak some more. I found that seemed to help yesterday to get it kind of soft. But yeah, I wish I could let this stuff dry on the line, because if you guys go over and watch Brian's video, you're going to see the difference in being able to process this. Also, one of the biggest disadvantages to doing it this way is I'm not going to be able to save the seed for planting next year, and that's unfortunate. I really wish I could, but the seeds that'll come out of here are going to be white and not really ready for planting, and that's what everyone says. So you guys know me well enough to know that I like to experiment, and so I will be keeping some of the seeds just to see, just to see for myself if that is a true statement or if that's just an assumption that the seeds wouldn't work. And the reason I say that is because the inside of this is very much like a cucumber, and you'll see that the seeds are very much like cucumber seeds. And, those seeds don't have to end up going dark to be usable. So I'm just curious if that would be the same when it comes to this. See what I mean by how the inside is a lot like a cucumber? You can see here that that's tissue very much like what you would find in a cucumber. And as a matter of fact, and I did not try this because I was a little bit scared too, but I might next year. When they're very small on the vine, I read that they're edible. They have a flavor very much like a cucumber. All right, almost have it all off. Yep, so it's all off, but see if you can see here, very much like a cucumber inside. So here's the part that I was talking about in my community post. You really have to squeeze it until it like starts making popping sounds, and I just don't have it in my hands to do that very well. So this is what I did yesterday to try to get it done. I don't know if you could hear that under the water or not. Let me be quiet while I do this, see if you can hear it. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not. I'll try to amplify it if it's at all there. Then I just kind of started bending it. And, just based on the research I had done, this is when you would want to try to get all of the inside out. And so I kept squeezing and smushing and bending and messing with it, trying to get that inside out. And then I finally had to just take a break because my hands were so sore. And then when I came back to it, I found, oh my gosh, it was much easier to bend. It was much easier to get a lot of it out and break up those fibers on the inside. But it still did not take care of getting all the seeds out. Which, here you go. Here's one of the seeds. And so Luffa seeds are usually black. And as you see, this is white like a cucumber. I'm going to save some of these seeds just because I'm curious. Are they not viable? I mean, let's find out together next year. We'll see what happens. Because I would be so stoked to be able to have those seeds. Be able to have them to be able to plant again from and not have to order more Luffa seeds. Of course, these seeds I got them from Brian. He sent me 4 seeds. 2 I started inside and transplanted, and 2 I direct sowed just as an experiment. Because Brian had never tried to direct sow them, so he wasn't sure if that would work. And maybe in some environments it might work, but in my case it did not. Neither one of those seeds germinated. Now the other 2 did, and I was able to transplant 2 of those, those 2 plants, and only 1 of those survived. So if I would have gotten it, was able to get it done like much earlier in the year, I would have loofahs coming out my ears, because it's, that vine is still out there flowering and is still putting on fruit and all of that good jazz. But the reason I'm having to go ahead and process these now is because we have our first frost coming either tomorrow or the next day. And from everything I researched and heard, the frost really just destroys the loofah. And, you know, I didn't want to take that chance. So I took the 4 big ones off the vine. That said, I'm not going to, I am not going to take the vine down right away. Because sometimes we get a very warm snap. And I might get another loofah. I don't know, you know, I don't know if I will or not, but it's, you know, I don't want to take the vine down and miss that opportunity. So as you can see, I'm at a point where I just really can't get much more out at the moment. Let's see if you can, I don't know if you can even see this, but you know, I'll show you what it looks like once it's emptied here in just a second. And that's what we're going for. But if you look really close, and I'll try to brighten this up if it's not good enough right now, you can see all those seeds down in there. And we need to get that out, and you know, any of this pulp that's like what you find inside of a cucumber needs to come out. And that's gonna be the fun part. So let me dry my hands and I'll show you. So this is the finished loofah that I did yesterday. This angle might be a little better for you, but you can see down in there that all of that has come out, and this is fairly dry. I mean, I think I feel just a little tiny bit of moisture down. Yeah, definitely down in the middle. So I'm just setting it on the towel, on a towel on the counter, and I had a fan blowing on it all night and all the rest of the day yesterday. So it's getting there. These take a stupid long time to dry, I'm telling you. So then I cut some of the pieces into smaller pieces that I'll use in the kitchen, and these of course are much drier, but again, in the middle where it's more dense, it's still a tad moist. So you just want to flip them every so often and put a fan on them for circulation when they're really wet. You just don't want mold to start growing on them. I also bleached mine. I'll show you that later and talk about why, but it's unfortunate, but yeah, I had to bleach them. And then, you know, we'll get to that when that step comes, but you can see how nasty that water is, and that's just from the inside of that particular sponge. Okay, I'm gonna let this sit here and soak, and I'm gonna clean up some of this out of the water, and I'll bring you back when we're ready to work with this again. Okay, you guys, here comes the fun part. Now, I've got you back quite a ways because I'm not real sure how far things fly, but I'll see if I can do some fun editing to take a real close look at what happens. But here's where you can get some of your aggression out for sure. You just gonna whack the humbug out of it. Ready? Well, I'm not sure that the last 2 are gonna come out. All right, let's go back inside where it's warm. I'll show you the next step. Okay, so we're back inside where it's warm. My hands are so cold. So you want about 4 tablespoons per gallon to bleach these. Now, if you're in a dry area, there's no reason for you to bleach it. But because I'm in a humid area, I'm bleaching them. And that's to get all the extra bacteria any of the pulp left inside. And yes, there's a couple, I think 2 or 3, definitely 2, maybe 3 seeds. And I'll work at trying to get those out of there with an ice pick or something later, so they don't sit in there and rot. But I'm out of breath from all that. So when it comes to humidity, I'm looking at my weather station, and right now it is 76%. And, you know, that's pretty high for this time of year, for even here, really. And it's 61% humidity inside. So, that's why I'm bleaching it. Ordinarily, I wouldn't, but I just really don't want to see this rotten mold. So, I will rinse it at the end so there's no bleach left. That said, I have to guess about how much is in here and then just put the bleach in accordingly, because I have no idea how many gallons my sink is, but it's huge. So I'm guessing a couple, 2 to 4 gallons is what's there. And then I'm just gonna swirl that bleach around, stick this on down in there, and it's nice and fresh and hot. Hopefully whatever might be left in the way of pulp. See how it's not floating now? That's awesome. So now I just need to rinse my hand of bleach. And go ahead and get this filled up the rest of the way. Now all that's just foaming from the bleach. And I'm just putting more water simply because I do not want to come in here and handle this bleach water and have to flip this thing frequently. Alright, there it is. It is underwater. Okay, I will bring you guys back for the last step of this. When it's time, I'm going to let this sit here and soak probably a minimum of a half hour. It might be upwards of an hour. You know, somewhere in there. I don't think that, you know, you don't want to let it sit in bleach for very long. Obviously, it'll destroy the fibers. But it doesn't have to be in the bleach for very long, really, to kill the bacteria. But I'm also, after trying to remove whatever might be still holding those couple of seeds in, it may or may not work, but if it is happen to be pulp, that bleach will pretty much disintegrate that pulp, and I should be able to get the last couple of seeds out. But we'll see when it comes time for that. So I'll see you guys in a little while. Okay guys, it's probably been about 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes. So what I'm going to do here is start rinsing this loofah off and hope that those last few seeds come out. You can see how much color it has changed. Let me go on and pull this. And I'm not bleaching it just, you know, like for the color. It's really just so it does not rot. It's so hot. That's better. So I just want to try to get all the bleach out of it. And one way that you can tell is that bleach is actually slimy. And so as you rub it, you can feel that it gets rougher and the slime goes away. I'm going to run water down the middle of it as well. Now I want to leave this entire loofah intact. I can feel where the seeds are breaking now, so that's good. Hopefully they come on out. probably get caught in the nooks and crannies. Knowing my luck. But I'm not going to stress over a couple of seeds too much. I just want to make doggone sure that I get it good and dry, and maybe at that point I'll be able to shake out the seeds. I don't really want to leave them in there at all, so I'm going to do what I can to get them out now, but if they don't come out, I'll get them later. Yeah, so that one's totally stuck in the fibers. So I'm just going to concentrate on getting all this bleach off of here because I don't want it to continue to deteriorate the fibers. The bleach does make it have a pretty off-white color to it though. I guess that's one advantage to really having to use it. And these guys hold a lot of liquid. It is really surprising. You wouldn't think it would, but it really does. I'm just going to squeeze it out as best I can. Gotta love the hand strength I've got, right? Alright, we're going to get this set up over here. There we go. And I have a fan right here on the coffee station, so I'm going to flip that on. Make sure that it's pointing over there. Yeah, that's good. Alright, so there you have it, y'all. That's all there is to it. It is quite involved, I do agree. Hang on one second. But I think in the long run it's worth doing all of this, because then you have even more self-reliance, because you don't have to go to the store to get a sponge, to be able to wash in the shower, to be able to clean your dishes. This is a natural, self-sustaining product that you can do for yourself, and it is absolutely a blast. The flowers on the plant are gorgeous. You know, the product itself is fun. So hopefully you guys give it a try, and I think the next time we talk about loofah, we'll be looking to see if those seeds that aren't supposed to be viable actually end up being viable. Until then, have a great day. We'll see you later.